each film that you've done so far is a different, with something like Maestro, clearly is, a real person diving into the archive of what's there. So every film's kind of journey with research is different depending on kind of, but what are the things that help you the most in terms of either finding tone for something, kind of for something like Is This Thing On, in terms of what was the most kind of helpful or useful kind of prep with that in terms of finding the tone of the script or finding your way into
the
that?
benefit of Is This Thing On is that the two actors were attached before we were writing it, So Alex, played by Will Arnett, and Tess, played by Laura Dern. So you have these living, breathing artists that you're able to talk to and work off of and receive their input while you're working on it, which is invaluable. And then also, the research was New York City and my experience with New York City and what it has meant to me, and the comedy culture, the in New York specifically, that I feel like I have a very specific relationship to just by experiencing it from 1999 all the way up to now, and seeing how it's evolved, and the feeling it's infectious. The cellar, that place in the movie, and the olive tree, and all of that. So just going there and reestablishing that relationship with the sensory experience of being there, that really helped inform it. But it really was New York City and my experience in New York City, and then taking that and putting that through Alex experiencing it, and then that's where we landed with all of the cinema of it, the shooting it with one lens, the aspect ratio, sonically. It all stemmed from that. Really, New York City was a huge element of inspiring the cinema of the movie.
And it's interesting you talking about earlier about David being so close as a director and stuff, and with Is This Thing On with Will being kind of really sort of there with him a lot of the time on those filming those stand-up scenes and stuff as well, and kind of being really present and close with him to kind of to communicate, I guess, in those scenes in a way.
Yeah, I mean, the difference with Is This Thing On is I was operating the camera, which I hadn't done before. So yeah, I was definitely close, and because it was a 40 millimeter lens, very close when at times. And Scott Sakamoto also operated, and Matty Libatique. So that was a whole new element for experience for me, which was really, really exciting.
These three films are so different. There's there, and it's so exciting because you can't guess where you're going to go next and what's going to be next. And I wanted to ask about if it's a case of you're trying, you're exploring, you want to try different types of cinema, you want to try different types of shooting things, different types of stories. If it's a kind of really conscious thing to shop, and to try lots of different things.
No, it's not conscious. I don't know when it's going to happen, that inspiration, but it's not a conscious decision. But clearly it is. But I'm such a curious person, and if you've treaded on something already, maybe you want to take another path. And the cinema always comes up. First, it's just that, like, for example, with The Star Is Born, wanted to tell a love story. I really thought I could do that maybe, and there's no better way pure than two people singing together, and then also wanted to be a rock star. And then Maestro, I just, classical music, all, and the power of Bernstein's music and Mahler and, this, yeah, and the Resurrection. I was like, when I heard the Resurrection, I was like, how's that piece never been in a movie? It's like, and also loving conducting. And then with this, it was Will Arnett. It was my friend initially, and the idea of seeing his face in doing stand up, and the idea of him exploring a role like that, and just I want to be a part of that. I want to watch this guy, my friend. I want to be like front row seat watching him do this.
I heard you say something. I think it was actually on Will's podcast, Smartless, where you said, there was a point where there was directors you wanted to work with and you just weren't getting the chance to.
Yeah.
And you've done that for Will with this film, in terms of we see him do something that we've never seen him had the chance to do before in terms of this dramatic role as well. And I just was interested in terms of where you are as a director, not removing yourself as an actor from it, but just in terms of the opportunities that you want to give people on screen. Like you were saying with Silver Linings, it was a game changer for you in terms of, this is something new that I really want to do. If that's something you think about as a director. And
I definitely love writing for people, yeah. And my memory of A Star Is Born is like working with Stephanie, and my memory a lot of Maestro is working with Carrie, and my memory of Is This Thing On is working with Laura and Will. Like that is the stuff that gives me the juice. Like I absolutely love working with actors and then watching them, then observing them just soar. There's nothing more gratifying than that. So whether or not I act in another movie that I direct, if I'm lucky enough to do that again, unless it's like a one-man movie, which would be very weird, that's always a huge element of it. Yeah. And acting while you're directing is wonderful, I think, because you're actually helping creating the rhythm with the other actor while you're helping them shape whatever is going on. I love that.
Is Balls based on anyone?
I think maybe me. I remember a friend of mine saw a cut of the film, and he's like, "Oh, you're just playing yourself." And I thought, "Am I?" Yeah.
Well, it was interesting hearing. I had a chance to talk to Will and Laura last night. We're talking about the kind of, the idea with the script and bringing it to you and your take on it and how you really shifted it from it originally being kind of a more traditional romantic comedy kind of thing, and you saw something in it that it needed to be something different. And what was it that you wanted it to be, I think?
I mean, I don't know it didn't need to be anything different, but what they had written, what he and Mark had written was so inspiring that it ignited so much in me that to start a dialogue about what maybe I could offer. And what I could bring, me, at 50, going through what I've gone through, knowing Will so well, what he's gone through, and then quite honestly, when Laura came aboard, it was like, oh, we have a chance to do something really special here. So it was just about, them creating something that was so inspiring, then just, ignites and then satellites off to something else, which continues to happen through the whole process. That the movie starts to tell you what it wants. That's so clear. So as long as you just stay open, and then it starts to evolve like, oh, and it's a movie about communication, and then it's not so much about him being a good comic, quite the opposite. It's just about the process.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because me and where I am in my life right now, enjoying the process maybe more than I ever have, and maybe that's why it's reflected. I mean, I'm literally just thinking this right now, but maybe that's part of why that's what Alex is going through too.
Yeah.